So just to kind of sum it up, data, models, and people are three of the buckets that I use to think about when I think about the topic of AI ethics.
What are some examples of those three buckets being applied in a altruistic, kind way? And what are some examples of it being like the clear water, is it clear view, pardon me, clear view?
Yeah, it's clear view.
Yeah, clear view, like some examples like that, that the standard regular person, might be involved in, but unaware.
Right. So your first question is really asking me, what are some good examples or what are some perhaps better ways of looking at building AI? And my response to that is that sadly at this point, there aren't a lot of great examples that I can point to and say X company is doing this well, or Y company has got it all figured out. I think there are organizations certainly that are working towards that. One thing I should say is that a lot of this it doesn't happen because of nefarious purposes. It happens because there's a certain culture that has been established in the tech industry in general. It's a bit of a Wild West culture. It's a bit of a move fast and break things culture. It's a culture that feels it's okay to go out there and grab, images off the internet. So all of that isn't, I would say, done with malice as an intent, but the end result is still harm. And so it does need to change. So I just want to say that. I don't think that there's some kind of necessarily evil agenda here at play, but I think it's a result of a lot of small decisions and a culture that kind of enables them. So what we talk about in terms of the course, how do we change that culture? How do we do things more responsibly? And the first course that we focus on, which is the Introduction to AI Ethics, really is a deep dive into ethical principles. So we talk about the different kinds of ethical frameworks that are being used to help people think through these consequences and be more responsible as a result. And that's really what it's all about. It's about giving people and organizations the capacity to build their ethical reasoning skills. And so we take people through a definition of what is ethics, why is it important, how does it apply to your company, and what are some tools that you can use to do better. And it's really about informing the development process. So that's really what we're trying to do with the course. In terms of outcomes and how this gets used in society, I think one of the more challenging questions that we need to kind of grapple with societally is, how do we want this very powerful technology to be used? Are there certain domains where we don't want it to be used? For example, we talked about the law enforcement area. Is it where in law enforcement would AI be useful and to what extent? Or should we be using it there at all? The same can be said about autonomous weapons, for example, very controversial area. And I think what needs to happen is we need to, in a democratic society, have a conversation about that. And part of what we're trying to do in the courses is give average people who maybe don't know anything about artificial intelligence and don't really know what's going on, enough information that they might be able to participate in a conversation about how these technologies should be used. So it's through this group decision-making process and considering a lot of different stakeholder perspectives that I think we will get to the best uses and the best ways to use this technology. So that's really what I think needs to happen. It's a bit more of a process.